museum springing up in Barcelona, Paris. To sort of mimic this one museum for a long time. So Jack Hare went over there and said, hey, why don't you use hemp? Use the hemp word.
The hemp word, yeah. Because after all, it's kosher.
Exactly. Yeah, this is hemp seed that comes from Canada, and every bit of that went in the belly here, you know, because that I eat it every day, and then this is the points up the stupidity of this law that we cannot grow food for ourselves. We have to get it from some other country because we're too stupid. Yeah, hemp food is an incredible source of food for people. Uh, the protein is easily digestible, and protein is what most of the world lacks. It's the cause of malnutrition to have less than a sufficient amount of protein. Rice doesn't do it, millet doesn't do it. Hemp would add in a source of protein that everybody can grow because it's called weed. It grows very well everywhere, and we want to get that message across that not only do we have healthy food here, but the oil is it's an essential oil. These oils we can't do without. And if we don't have the right kinds of oils, we substitute inferior oils for those oils. So here's one it's equivalent of fish oil. And the fish have mercury, but hemp doesn't. And so there's a good reason to eat hemp right there if you're worried about omega-3 fatty acids, which are in hemp, and the most abundant part of hemp. The mix of oils is perfect for the human body. Uh, Dr. Roberta Hamilton, uh, from she's a professor emeritus at UCLA. She told us all about these oils, and she said, I discovered these myself. I was looking at oils, and the only one that would do it, the only great oil is hemp. You know, so she's an expert on the hemp oil. Eddie's here in spirit, but he's in jail right now because of a stupid law that we can't grow a plant, which is totally not an American thing. We have inalienable rights given to us by the Creator, and Eddie's in jail for doing exactly what he should have been doing, is growing lots of marijuana for patients. And this is a hemp religion room, and because this is a natural substance given to us by the Creator, a plant. This is how the plant has been seen by other religions, by other peoples in other times, and this plant had significance in many religions, including Buddhism, Confucianism, the Sufis used marijuana as a sacrament, as do the Rastafarians. There is a religious aspect to hemp, and it's ours from the Creator, and it didn't go to the government; it went to us, and that's what we have to emphasize. And people that read the Bible should know this. In the first part, it says that God gave us every herb-bearing seed.
No, hold on a second, hold on. Until it turns on.
The herb-bearing seeds and used to be used for meat, to eat them, and those are ours. It's just hemp can be eaten, and hemp is good to eat. Most of these are printouts from this poster that came from Canada, British Columbia, and it shows a lot of the aspects of hemp, from Bob Marley to the pygmies in Africa. It's their only cultivated crop is cannabis. I had a great experience the other day in a flea market. I found this display of hemp, and I go, yes, that's what the museum needs. And so this is a board that was a company in Colorado, Enviro Textiles LLC. This is 99 different kinds of hemp fabric. All made in China, all blends of silk and cotton and hemp, and 100% hemp, of course, there too. This is the potential of hemp, and we could be doing some of this, making some of our own cannabis and so on. This rug right here is the thickest, softest rug I've ever seen in my life, and this is the kind of industry we should have. This is 100% hemp. The backing is hemp. Backing in rugs was traditionally hemp. Even wool rugs had backing made of hemp. This is made in China. This is the Chinese symbol for hemp right here in the middle. It's male and female plants hanging in a drying shed. And we'll see the symbol again later on. But these are fabrics from a local Los Angeles company called Hemp Traders. And I
All right,
got
let me
a
just get
lot
a clean shot without your hands in the way, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You can keep talking.
And
just-
the top row is different colors of hemp that was dyed with, like I say here, barks, lichens, onion skins, curly dock, some other dye plants. So there's a variety of colors there that we dyed.
Let me just hold it right there for a second. I feel my phone ringing. Let me just make sure. So you can go ahead and start whatever you want to say.
Yeah, a lot of these wallets are now have been worn. These couple down here in the right corner have been worn out by use, and there's wallets being made mostly in China, of course, because we can't grow this. But I also collect anything with a hemp leaf on it. So
Sure.
that's what the leather ones there with hemp leaf. And
Oh,
again,
I like the hash instead of mash.
yes,
That's
and
cute.
he did a whole series of takeoffs on McDonald's, and I mean, he got sued over and over again by companies that.
And go.
This is a collage of hemp stuff that I put on this frame. At the bottom is an old shirt that had, this shirt is made of marijuana across the back. So when I was standing in line at the supermarket and somebody behind me would have to read that. 3 circular Nepalese hats from Nepal, and a wallet, a pair of pants that I wore out and cut up, you know, a shirt and so on. So it's just a collage of hemp things that down here in the corner is a pouch made by a woman that out of hemp twine, out of sunshine. Did that.
Go.
Okay, this is a little drying thing from the past century where they used to dry socks around the fire and stuff. But this is t-shirt material, very great, soft, fluffy material, and little tykes. This is the perfect material for diapers, right? Stop filling our landfills up with paper and plastic diapers. Boxer shorts made out of hemp. This is a vest, a prototype vest that was made. This is a silk. These panties and top were hemp silk blend. Apron here of 100% hemp. These curtains are hemp, hiding a little window here, but these were Oriental style curtains.
Okay. Just stay right there. Let me just sort of get a long shot of you while you're just kind of looking at that stuff and handling it. Okay.
And here's
Okay, wait. Just go ahead and handle that stuff over there again. Yeah, you don't have to be saying anything. It's just basically, you know, you're just looking.
the straight razor.
And let me get it from this side here. Okay, and kind of, yeah, face angle towards me. Yeah, you're just kind of looking at it. You're just looking at the stuff. It's just kind of B-roll here for me. Okay, yeah, okay, yeah, let me get a close-up of that. Perfect, okay. Let me see this leather strap here. We didn't get that before. Okay, you want to say something about that?
Yeah, this is an old straight razor strap where you hone your razor. The one is leather, the other is hemp canvas.
Okay.
You can see the weave in there in this one.
Yeah.
Mail bags used to be made out of hemp. This could well be flax because it's probably a more modern one. But,
Okay, and go.
textile room's about money too. We can replace the cotton crop, which is a multi-billion-dollar crop, and uses hemp. Cotton uses half the pesticides used in the United States today, so we would just gonna eliminate that because hemp doesn't require pesticides; it just outgrows pests.
You wanted me to see that? Okay. Okay.
Buttons.
Okay, so what is it you want to say? Go.
This is one of the first shirts that came in the modern hemp movement from China, and it didn't take long for hemp to catch on because people that use hemp, like Calvin Klein and other designers, love new fabrics. And Calvin Klein, over to the side here is a picture of Calvin Klein, which we'll hit. Who's saying, "I wish I could get more hemp," because this is something he was one of the first designers to say, "Hey, hemp's great, and we need it in fashion." And just pan down
Okay.
below that. It's about fabrics.
And go.
Hemp. This is hemp and fabric here, and we put it in the cage there so the dogs wouldn't eat it. But we have hemp fabrics, hemp used as fabrics and used in fire hoses and heavy duty stuff as well as cloth. Over down here we have an actual blanket that was made and imported, of course. Behind that, a pouch, a little computer pouch, something like that. A couple of shirts right here, and again, this stoneware one was one of the first that came in about 1990, 1989. And beyond that, a shirt from Hawaii that was made out of hemp. Again, all this is imported hemp. We cannot grow this. And some of the books that we have up here about textile fabrics and mention hemp, and they don't try to say it's a bad thing or anything like that. I went to the Nevada Museum, State Museum, and picked up this book here that talks about hemp. Hemp was used in the old West. The first Levi's were made of hemp. Hemp was strong and it held up. You could put your gold nuggets in there and they wouldn't lose them through holes in the fabric.
It held your nuggets, huh?
It held those nuggets. Toys. This is a bear that the neighbor Rosie made, and I made the eyes for it out of hemp pulp. It's stuffed with hemp. Probably half of it was stuffed with hemp. We ran out and finished it with some other fabric, but that's hemp. There's just unlimited things you can make out of hemp. Let me move this.
Okay.
These are, again, branches that are faking hemp. But the money bags used to be hemp. The hacky sacks fell down below there, but down in the corner down there are hacky sacks. Next to that is a guitar strap. Hats, bags, shoes, pants. It goes on and on. There's almost nothing fabric that you can't make out of hemp, and hemp makes it better. It's stronger, softer, in every way. It's the fabric of choice, and it was the world's standard fiber for 1,000 years.
And go.
This is part of history as well as fabrics, because in the old days, every farm had equipment to make homespun, which is hemp. They would send the guys out to the backyard to cut down the stuff that was growing out in the patch, in the back, or if they raised it on a field, and they would process it with a break it up. Take the fiber, this is hemp fiber, on 12-foot tall plants. This is what makes the ropes and sails so strong, is that you could make yarns to weave into fabrics and ropes that were 12 foot long. The fibers run the length of the plant. And that's what makes hemp, one of the things that makes hemp really strong. So every farm had hetchels, which are these spike things for cleaning hemp. They had spinning wheels, they had looms. This was just regular stuff to make clothes. All the lace that was from a dissertation by this guy over here, George Melvin Herndon. He wrote a book about the history of hemp in colonial Virginia, and every piece of lace that was made out of hemp because this is what they preferred. And I guess the women knew that it would last forever, and they spent a lot of time making lace, okay? So they wanted it to last, not just dissolve. So cotton was not the preference, it was hemp. And so a lot of the lace that's around today, made in the past, was made out of hemp twine.
Reflection here. Let's see if we can get that. And go.
Now this hemp pillow cover I bought it crate and barrel, so these modern stores are looking at hemp and buying it, but it was not stuffed with anything. And we found this hemp is insulation, and I cut a piece of it and stuffed it inside of here, and it makes a great like yoga mat or whatever. So there's one, and this is the company that Thermo Hemp Company is making insulation.
You got a clean shot of everything here. Okay.
It's around here.
Go ahead.
This is hemp fiber. This beautiful white hemp fiber. I grew this and made the hemp fiber from
Let me get it from this side here. So,
these green sticks of hemp, such as this one. This has no fiber on it. I throw the sticks in a barrel of water, leave them there for 3 weeks, and the plant material rots next to the stem, and it just slips off the stick. The stick about hemp is 77% cellulose, so you can use this to make paper, to make fuel, it makes wood alcohol. There's the wood right here. It makes wood alcohol, but let me get back to this fiber here, because this is, again, something I made akin to homegrown, homespun, and you can use wool cards to do this. This is the way it was done in the past. You clean it and card it, and this lines up the fibers going one direction. You see, as they keep combing it. If it was real dirty, like this is a dirtier mix here, that it's ready to spin when it comes off here, and you take it off, and you can actually just take it off and spin it. It's called a bat. This part that I'm taking off right now, this would be called a bat, and it's what you spin off of, and you'd take it and spin it, start twisting, and you see that twist? That twist is that invention of the twist got people going. And this was a cave. This probably went back to the cave days when they had all winter to sit in a cave and keep warm. They had hemp with them, and they would spin it during the winter time. This is my theory. And make twine, and this is what you can do with it. So.
Yeah, hold it up again so I can get another shot of you and your twist.
Yeah, and this is the twist. And then if we had a spinning wheel, see, the spinning wheel would be doing the twist, and that twist comes right back here, and I just add to it. Keep pulling it out, making it thin. See there? See that twist coming back? We're just getting it going.
The beginning of civilization, right there.
This is it. Plants are the basis of civilization, and one of the first parts of civilization was the fact that we could use a plant, make a tool. This was traps for animals. This was nets for fish, and on, and clothes, of course, and thread and bowstrings. You know, you name it. This is our history, and we're not told anything about it. We have a whole history room that we're going to show you soon, though.
Yeah, perfect.
This was the start of paper in China 2,000 years ago.
Okay, so it's only started.
And again, as it says, China kept papermaking a secret for 500 years, and they developed everything that you can imagine using paper for. Building paper, you know, they used playing cards, paper money, you know, just everything was developed in China over this 500-year period. Maybe except vacuum cleaner bags because they didn't have vacuums. But this is again part of the history, and we'll come back here with history to talk about the Chinese and use of hemp that started so long ago. This is a USDA yearbook that says the 500 AD. They said that they were using paper 28th century BC, almost 5,000 years ago. So not only cloth, but food and oil, and then later on, because they had hemp, and the hemp nets that they pulped up for the first paper happened to be hemp. The first paper was made out of hemp. This is John Adams. It shows John Adams writing, probably
Let me get a better.
writing the Articles of Confederation, I believe is what was this document he's writing.
I'm trying to get where it's not reflecting.
You're not going to get that.
All right, so here we are. You want to continue your little rap about him?
Yeah, all the important documents we have, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, these were all drafted on hemp paper. That's the only kind of paper there was, rag bond paper. And what made better rags than sails? A 2-ton sail off a sailing ship is going to make 2 tons of paper. So that this recycling was incredible in those days, where they actually took the hemp and took the fabric that they had and pulped it up into paper. That was the recycle. This is the first attempt I had at paper. Here's a list of the things that paper can make, and we know those things, and there are thousands of items that are made out of paper these days.
Let me just get that list too. Okay, I'm just going to just get all this stuff here just to. My God, where did you find this?
It was in a antique store. This is a book, a record book, so that they went to great detail to write on these. It was 1882, so in 1882 they still had rag bond paper, and anytime they used it for record keeping, they would make sure it was rag bond because if there was something else that was secondary to this, and they dyed the paper in those days blues and yellows and keep up there. Again, this piece of papyrus down there in that corner is not true paper because it's a laminated paper. You can see the grain going different ways.
Mm-hmm.
That's from the lamination of papyrus. And they wrote on papyrus too, but again, hemp stood up the test of time. So it was hemp that was the great paper maker. We have the Bibles from the Gutenberg Bibles, which is said to make the best paper ever made, was those Bibles. They're still around in perfect condition.
And go.
This 1848, some legal documents from 1848, and again you can see the blue rag bond paper. It's in perfect condition still, that was used to keep these documents in the various pieces that were used to verify and so on. Old tents, old sails were used to pulp up and make this paper. This was the source, and there was a big recycle movement around paper because old rags were valuable. Old rags could be pulped up into paper. This is a cover of a book we're writing. It's not done, not quite done yet, but we're writing a book on paper. We've written 3 books already, and this is one of the next ones that would be out. We have a couple of pictures here of the old times. This is one. You can see the paper down here and all the pens. This is probably an artist, right, that used hemp paper and or wrote on hemp paper in the old days. And again, there's another one up there, right over here. There's another picture depicting old literature. We don't know that those books and pages were printed on hemp paper, but that's what we know now. I picked up at the flea markets, there's 4 of these authenticated pieces of paper, and the title page is over here, but the paper, this page, was taken out of a book from 1734. You can see the quality of this paper. There was no tree pulp paper, so we know this was rag bond paper, and the majority of the rags used were hemp. This is one of 4 displays we got in that. This is actually the rolling paper section. We have a collage of rolling papers over here that was purchased off the net. Somebody did this in 1980 is the date it's on. Something here. This is dated. Ticket to the Dodger game, 1981. So that's when it was put together. Somebody had their own collection of rolling papers. And this cabinet here is pretty much our collection of rolling papers and things about rolling papers. But rolling papers have been around a long time, and now they're using a lot of hemp in rolling papers. burns better. You can make them very thin again because hemp is strong, fiber. A few things that I made out of paper down there, just not too much, but there's a guy up in Leggett, California, John Stahl, who had this Church of the Living Tree, and he makes rolling papers. That's the only, these are probably the only American-made rolling papers there are. Here's a book on rolling paper graphics. Again, Zigzag was the most famous brand in the 60s, the old man smoking. So that's it. But again, it's a choice, and for trees, and with hemp, we don't need to pulp up trees. We can leave them in the forest, and they can continue to reverse global warming.
Okay, and go.
This picture up here that I got is a water wheel in a mill, and this water-powered mills, we think of them as grinding grain. They have this big wheel going around, but most of these mills pulp paper. This was a slow pounding action that pulped up paper, and the wheel was perfect because the wheel, when it gets a certain amount of water on it, it turns, nothing stops it. So that torque, that constant pounding, and it sort of was on a cam, so that there were a bunch of things pounding, pulping paper. And there were hundreds of mills in early America. These are again hetchels for cleaning the fiber. Okay, here's the oldest piece of paper we have. Oldest thing in the museum is this piece of paper. It's from 1496. A book in Latin, probably, that talks. It's probably a religious book. I don't think it was the Bible itself, but you know, whatever the book was, that piece of paper was made out of hemp. Rag bond is almost all rag bond included hemp. It was that abundant. Ben Franklin used hemp. He made hemp paper. He was a publisher, so he made hemp paper and paper maker. These
Hang on a second, let me just get a couple of shots here. Okay.
These are some of the boxes I made for the museum. I'm trying to make paper. I made these pieces of paper that are framed here, and then I made some small boxes out of some of those pieces of paper. This is all the natural hemp color when it's cooked up and pulped up. Nice, and you can bleach hemp very easily with peroxide as opposed to chlorine. Okay, so that's important in paper making today. And it folds very nice, which is important in paper, that it folds, and you can just fold it, it doesn't break and tear apart and so on. There's this.
Let me do
that.
Working, right? And that's kind of what we're talking about here, you know, it's if you can get your message hooked in with it's American, then you're...
And that's hemp paper. And the condition of the books tells you that often, as we go down the line here, you'll see that these books are nice and pages are nice and white, except for the one on the end, which is turning golden yellow. And it's going to self-destruct because it has acid to break down the tree, and you can't get the acid out of the pulp, so it stays in the book, and eventually it will eat the book up. And these other books are going to be around for the shelf life for hemp paper that has no acid in it is 1,500 years, not 100 years.
Yeah.
And these are actually, on the back side, verified that they're really what they are. And they were still cheap.
This guy's again. All right, so this is an add-on for the textile. You missed it first time around, and you want to say something about this stuff?
Sure. Now these are a collection of fabrics, mostly hemp here, but I can just run through here. This is a cotton T-shirt that was dyed with hemp. Okay, so that's the green color. This is
Okay, why don't we do this? No, you can go ahead. Let's go ahead and talk about them first. Okay.
okay. This is a
You can leave them on the rack, and then we'll take them off the rack. We'll just
it's
kind
a
of.
this French hemp raincoat. Just some cotton, some more cotton hemp shirts from the greenhouse in Amsterdam. This is an outfit I wore a lot of time. 100% hemp shirt, 100% hemp vest. And I think I decided to put it in the museum so I wouldn't wear it out because I kept wearing stuff out. Hemp shirt again. This is a company called Two Star Dog that was one of the first group of brothers went into the business of making hemp fabric material, shirts and pants. I maybe wore out 8 different pair of hemp pants from Two Star Dog. This is a Hemp Connection, Marie Mills in Garberville up in Northern California, Humboldt County. Had this company called Hemp Connection, and this is one of her tops for a woman's top. There's a whole series of prototypes here from Christy Bowling from Arizona, who started CHA, it was called, the hemp people. And here's a Thomas Jefferson shirt. You see this long shirt. You could wear this shirt for a night warmer, you know, something that goes. It's long, and this basket weave is very thick.
Cool.
I wore a lot out. I wore a lot of shirts out. Some of them I saved before they actually went to shreds. When you're working on the farm, sometimes, here's an unusual one. This is a very rough coat that was made in Hungary. And this is a herringbone weave hemp. Lost a couple of buttons, it looks like, but it looks like it was made by hand.
Okay.
Even,
You know. Cool. Yeah, just keep going through them, okay?
Hemp all the way.
Okay.
100% hemp. Now we can get fancy if you like, because we have a hemp tie
All right.
for that. And again, 100% hemp. It's a good one.
Yeah.
This is an Armani shirt. Okay? Armani. Says it all over the shirt.
Got it.
It's a Willie Nelson shirt he had his name on. That the company was Hemp Colony.
Okay, hold it still for a second so I can get the look. Got it.
And we used this on his bio. Yeah, I was in his bio. He let me show my book and do all this stuff.
All right, hold it still. Let me get the label in the collar there, okay? Got it. Okay.
But Willie's a great hempster.
Hamster. I like that.
We like the hamsters. And again, this is the new, I think they call this cottonized because it's sort of soft and fluffy like cotton.
Okay.
It's hemp.
Cool.
Close to the end here, but here's a beautiful, heavy hemp coat. It's slip over, and it's from Europe. I don't even remember how I got this or where I got it. It's got a hoodie. Hoodie on it as well. So that's European. I gotta keep pants here. These were the first pants the museum had, and they were made by Katharina Ernst, a German woman who we had the fabric, and she put the pants together. And that was my first pair of pants. A hoodie, hemp hoodie. We love it. And last, a cotton T-shirt that had the latest marijuana march on it. And it had Sister Samaya on one sleeve and Dana Beal on the other. Sister Samaya died in 2006, I believe it was. Great hempster for Los Angeles. He was arrested by the LAPD 7 times for growing a plant in her backyard, or more than one plant. So that's textiles. That's that part of the textile business.
All right, anytime you want to start.
Yeah, this the back of this sign is Chinese hemp pressboard, and it this particular mill didn't use formaldehyde in its resin to hold it all together. So that's a good measure. Most pressboard is held together with some fairly toxic glues, including formaldehyde, which is a cancer causer. So you can imagine putting this into your house and then having to live with the off-gassing of formaldehyde.
Yeah, a lot of people have allergies and...
Yeah, that's probably why they have allergies. Yeah. But here's the first board I made. Again, this is the process of pulping up that the paper started. We talked about in the paper section, and the paper and pulp is then put into a mold or pressed, and all these pieces up here on the board are homemade, except the one in the corner that says Chinese and the one down here that says Poland. The rest of them I made out of hemp that I pulped up and grew, of course, because that you have to start somewhere, and it's the agriculture that starts the research, it starts the industry happening. And this is one of those times where we really need to look at the resource and say, hey, it's time to use this resource. Anytime you put hemp into a building, it's not going back into the atmosphere. Now, growing hemp pulls carbon into that plant, and the plant makes wood, through photosynthesis, which is a process of changing sunlight into food light, okay, food energy. So these are ideas for building materials, but we don't have to go too far to find these ideas in reality. Down here, below these boards that we're looking at right now. These boards and this sandpaper, by the way, I made by taking the ground up hulls of hemp and gluing it onto a piece of paper. Now the hulls went through different sieves to get small, medium, and large size pieces. I just was playing around, but every time you play around, you open up new ideas and new methods. And, we have a replacement for styrofoam ball here. This replacement is very light. I just molded it by hand and you know, while it was hot, and dried it, and that's what it came out. Insulation over here is being made out of hemp. This is insulation. There's another piece down at the bottom. This is a piece of board that I made here that's a 100% hemp. There's no glue, nothing in there. It was just pressed hot, and then I ran it through a table saw. You can see how crisp edges. So we can make things. This is just experimenting, and we need the research facility that really explores all these ways of doing things. What kind of glue is best in hemp? Well, a safe glue would be really good that didn't have any toxins in it. We could build houses that didn't smell all the time, and so on. So hemp as a building source, again, the hemp has a certain amount of excess carbon, or it pulls excess carbon out of the atmosphere and builds wood, and out of that wood we can make things. We can press it, and we can make plastics, and we can make again, the wood is 77% cellulose, so you can make things, including plastics. And here in the middle of the
well, let me just get this.
that bread pan, it was part of a brick. I was trying to make a brick out of pulp, but it didn't. It turned out semi-good. Again, I didn't have the machine to press it and so on. This picture is of a house being built in Germany. This is a hemp house using hemp building materials. Here's a couple of guys over here actually harvesting hemp in like 1009. Over there in the corner. There's that is an agricultural picture, of course. But hemp burns, produces power. We can power ourselves. We can build the houses up.
And go.
Did you get the sign up on the top
Yes,
there?
I did.
Okay. So this is a little box I made showing the wood and in its various aspects. Down here we have the leaves that usually are fertilizer. They usually fall back, but the seeds provide food for us. This is the fiber that I grew. This is the herds that you can make paper out of. This is a piece of hemp cloth and the root system there. So this little box, and of course in the middle the bud, the flowers, and a tincture that's made out of hemp tincture. Medicine, we haven't been to the medicine store yet, but we will get there. Maybe we should move right over here to...
Okay, let me just get this so that I've got a good shot, because this encapsulates everything right there in this one frame.
Yeah.
Okay. Go.
Okay, this is a way of storing excess carbon. And here's a perfect example. You see, this is made of hemp herds, the pieces left after the fiber's been removed. and there's a bag of herds at the bottom. But these little pieces are put in a mold
All right, let me get it without your hands in the way there. Okay,
with,
continue. Oh.
with lime. It's mixed with lime, and this is a double wall. The wall is really twice as thick as this, and with a space in the middle, so nothing gets through this wall. You know, no heat loss, no cold can come in. This hemp concrete piece here. The foundation for Hemp City is a recipe that I made and made a cookie sheet full of. This is half hemp by volume, and it changes the whole characteristics of cement. In other words, the cold would go through cement before. It doesn't do that now. This insulates. It helps add insulation to the cement itself. Of course, you can mold hemp pulp. You just have the pulp in. This was a cookie cutter, a hemp cookie cutter. I don't know where that is right now, but I packed hemp in there and made a mold, made it into a mold. Again, a lot of this pulp is just cut up little branches of hemp so that people can do this, you know, if you're growing hemp, a lot of medical people are now. Save your branches, cut them up into little pieces, and then you can use that pulp to boil it 8 hours, you know, save the glue that comes out, and so on. And we've made quite a number of boards at the farm. Hemp insulation again is there, and there's in the corner is the bread pan mold with a board, and I would turn it up on its side, put it in the 6-inch vise, and crank it down as far as I could. But with hydraulics, you see a hydraulic press, that's what you get to slam it down and make the board tight and set the glue. So these are building materials. Robert Deitch is a hempster who died, and we still keep his stuff around. He wrote a book on hemp history also, so he's a good guy. This T-shirt from C&S Lumber Company. They were the first that I knew of that made hemp pulp press board, and they tested it, and it tested out stronger than wood pulp board. So we not only is it here and a resource we can utilize, but it's a better resource than wood pulp. Wood in a tree takes a tremendous amount of acid to break it down. It's why the acid stays in the pulp and eventually destroy all the books. But that's one of the things we're looking at right now is better ways to do things. This is one of the resources that gives us better ways, more ecological ways to do things. One of the things down here at the bottom, this is sort of history, is this oakum. These fibers are soaked in resin and oil, in a resin though, that can harden, and they pounded these into the cracks in sailing ships. You know, pieces of wood don't always fit together perfectly, so when they were making the ship, they packed them with, and if there was a leak, seal it with oakum. And oakum was also used for cast iron pipe joints, braided, and that's probably where that oakum came from.
And go.
Okay, this is the plastics room, I call it. Could be greatly expanded by going to Europe and buying the products that they've made out of hemp already. For instance, we have a grinder for cannabis over here, and a scale that are both made out of hemp plastics. Over here is a CD tray that's made out of hemp plastics, and it was made in Germany for a guy in Australia who was a musician and needed CD trays. Thought maybe, hey, let's get hemp ones, and he made them and sold them for a while. That's where we got it, those. There's books. We have books on plastics, and it talks about the plastics came about as a replacement for ivory billiard balls. That was the first real plastic that came in. Cellulose is made out of plants. It's a plastic. So it's not just, and these are things that could be made out of plastics. We have a could be section there that all that stuff could be made out of plastics. And the story goes that anything you can make out of fossil fuels, hydrocarbons, you can make out of carbohydrates. It's just a carbon source. And it's a simple carbon source. We grow it with the light of the sun.
$1 trillion. Okay, and go.
Okay, this is the hemp economics room, we call it, and hemp economics is something we've written a book about. We looked at what the value of crops are, the value of things that hemp could actually replace. It was easy to come up with $1 trillion because paper, as we've seen in the paper room, is $850 billion industry that should all be hemp and leave the trees in the forest. Now this resource with hemp is something that can provide jobs because we're not sending $700 billion a year to Saudi Arabia and the Middle East for oil. These friends, Lynn and Judy Osborne, who are great hempsters who were arrested and spent time being incarcerated and hassled by the government, made this schematic. This is hemp, the seeds, the stalks, and all the products that can be made from it, including building materials and biofuels. Biofuels, any amount of the $2.4 trillion energy bill that we have in the United States that hemp can take, this gives a great growth potential of the hemp to replace $2.4 trillion industry. But we can do that starting with hemp because any amount will cut down the use of fossil fuels. And we need to start that, of course, immediately. But in here we have, as economics, what does hemp produce? Food products, health industry through its amino acids and fatty acids. The oil provides paints and varnishes and biofuels. The whole plant has building material potential, and the whole plant can be used for biofuels. Over here it's the stalks, and this is what we traditionally think of as hemp, are the stalks, but the stalks produce fiber and herds. Almost 5 times the amount of herds can be grown. That's the wood part of the hemp as opposed to the fiber. But fiber itself, you can get a lot more fiber from an acre of hemp than you can cotton. So here we got textiles, paper pulp, chemical feedstocks, which are all those cosmetics and things we're going to look at and see that hemp makes. So this is 50,000 viable uses have been estimated to be hemp-friendly products. We can make them out of hemp.
Okay, and go.
Yes, hemp history started way back before we were able to read and write because this was probably a food source for our ancestors 1 million years ago. And Homo sapiens, the species that we are a part of, has only been around for 100,000, about 100,000 years. So, and all human life, especially Homo sapiens, started in Africa. And southern Africa, it looks like the idea was that one woman gave birth to a big-brained baby and was able to give birth to a big-brained baby without dying, and that baby survived and passed those genes on, and it built over the years. to where we now have a larger brain than they did in those days, and are more able to use it for tool making and stuff over this 100,000 years. So we have some books on the origin of man. Now they don't specifically talk about hemp, but it gives us an idea of what was going on in the industry, that agriculture helped people settle down into villages, and agriculture was again the basis of civilization. This is what Huntington Gardens is talking about. Their education is called learning about plants from the ground up. You know, that's where you start. And plants have a lot of things to offer for us still. But twine was for fish nets and traps and so on, bowstrings and thread, started before the beginning of written word, and so we don't have a great history of it, but we do have some pieces, like 9,000-year-old pieces of fabric that were hemp. So, you know, it's a papyrus thing again. This plate shows sailing ship, you know, and sailing's been around for 6,000 years. This picture right here is of Marseille, France, where they had a big avenue going from the hemp fields down to the port where they made ropes and sails for sailing ships, and they called it the Cannabis Walk. And that's Egyptians had a name for hemp called Sesmet, S-E-S-M-T, and that's Sesmet in hieroglyphics. From I think that all came from the Rosicrucian Egyptian Museum and Planetarium in San Jose. But this hemp bag they have dates back to 1500 BC. So I picked this up again. This was a collector. Somebody was selling their grandfather's effort at putting together a terrarium kind of sailing ships, and so this shows a lot of hemp in here. All the ropes, all the sails, all the flags, banners, logbooks, uniforms on a sailing ship were hemp. And this one back up here.
Hold on a second, let me
Sure.
just get this. There's a lot of great stuff in here. Okay, go.
So we have some things here. This was borrowed, and I put my own touch on it, but this is from ships by Edward Lewis, and it was hemp ropes and sails that carried the commerce of the world for 6,000 years. And we can't use this plant now. It's absurd, and that in itself should tell us something about what's going on, the lie that's going on. This is one done by Brenda Kirschenbaum Cohen's mother. It's just a saying, it's the set of the sails and not the gales, which determines the way they go. Sails carried the commerce 6,000 years before fossil fuels, before anything was, people were riding horses and using ropes. So we have a lot of stuff around sailing ships around the world. This is what happens. This tapestry up top here shows the revolutionary America loading huge ships. Down below here is a coil of rope being put on there. That means somebody in industry in the city made the rope and is selling it to whoever is in the big ship there. And this,
All right, let me just get some of this stuff here for you.
yeah, get it all.
Just a lot of stuff here.
And this three-masted ship is what really started the adventures of Columbus and the people that circumvented the whole globe, you know, that went around sailing. It opened up the great voyages of discovery where they went up and down the coasts of America in these three-masted ships.
I think the term is circumnavigate.
Circumnavigate, yeah, okay.
You want to try that one again, just for the sake of...
Yeah, the,
Wait. You know what, let me just get some more detail, and then we'll wait for the train to go by. And then you can...
we have a couple of models here, but this is one of them. This three-masted ship of the 15th century allowed Columbus and the people that circumnavigated the globe to open up the great voyages of discovery, where they came and found the riches of the New World. I think I have 40 books on sailing ships, big ones like this. And a lot of them just don't mention hemp at all. They just talk about sails and canvas. Maybe they use the word canvas, but hemp's sort of a lost word because of the association, the guilt by association.
Guilt by association, yep.
tried to collect a variety of sailing ship things to show that this is one of the love affairs that the people had with sailing ships. The sails were all white and they stood up very high, white, and you could see them coming for 40 miles out. Okay, the USS Constitution is Old Ironsides is its name, and it's a national sailing ship. It's been around since Revolutionary War date. That makes it about 230 years old, somewhere around that. And it's still in Boston Harbor, and it still is outfitted with hemp ropes and sails. We just have to import them for our national sailing ship. So I mean, it shows you the kind of nonsense this is, that we can't even replicate history here because we can't grow something that was so powerful that it powered this ship itself. Betsy Ross, of course, we have that picture, and when some of the other pictures of Betsy Ross are down here in the cabinet. The little thing of her sewing, it's a perfume bottle, but there's a couple of postcards and an ashtray showing Betsy Ross sewing the first ship, and it was this flag, excuse me, it was sailcloth, hemp. This is one of the ships that's still around, the frigate Constellation. It's in, I believe, in Baltimore, in Maryland. That one is. What we have here are two American flags that are made out of hemp, and this is the 45-star flag down here at the bottom. It was a death flag from a Spanish-American War veteran. This is a 46-star flag over here that I bought. It was 46, so it's way, they were over 100 years old, both of them, but made out of hemp, back when hemp was legal and nobody worried about it. They were not ashamed to say the name hemp. And we have the section of here on a famous hemp grower, George Washington, who had a 40-acre patch down in his at his estate in Mount Vernon, and that 40-acre hemp section is mentioned in the handbook about Mount Vernon, that he actually did that through hemp.
So much reflection here. just have to kind of get it just to, okay.
You want to move that light down a little bit?
Say again?
War of 1812 was fought over the hemp trades, and most of the nations of the world needed sailing ship material, hemp. And it just so happens that Russia was the main supplier of hemp for the world. In northern Russia, you could only grow 100 to 110 days because of the weather. So hemp would grow in that short period of time because it grows real fast. And they were the big supplier of the world for hemp. And it got to the point where there was a war to determine who actually made it to Russia to get their hemp. And it was called the War of 1812. And we happen to have gotten a grave marker from the War of 1812. It shows this anchor with everything on the anchor because it was fought on the seas almost entirely. That war.
Can't seem to get it without reflection. Okay, doing the best we can here.
Down at the bottom here.
All right, hold on, let me just get
Sure.
this here.
Old books now on Kentucky, The Reign of Law, A Tale of the Kentucky Hemp Fields, and this book right here are both about Kentucky. Kentucky was the big supplier in the United States of hemp. It was something that the people out in the hills could do. They'd grow hemp, and you know, along the river valleys it was grown. And Kentucky actually was the big one during the Second World War when they grew hemp. They gave the job of growing the seed crop to 4-H kids. So each 4-H kid would grow like a half to 2 acres of seed hemp, and the next year they planted 300,000 acres from that seed that the kids grew. You know, so it was a war effort, and the kids did enough that produced enough seed that they could grow it. And hemp, of course, helped us win the war. Homespun was hemp. You could grow it out in the backyard, go break it, process it, spin it, weave it, make clothes out of it. That's an amazing ship, 36,000 square feet of hemp sail. Whew. This particular rope is made out of nylon. It's the old lariat from the movies, and they didn't bother to worry about whether it was hemp or not. But they in the old days, these were all hemp back in the old West.
So we got a link in here now.
One of the things about the Emancipation Proclamation that it shows here in the thing is Lincoln's portrait, his name, and under just above Emancipation Proclamation is a hemp plant. And that's because hemp helped the North win the Civil War. The South had cotton. The North had nothing. Well, they had hemp, so they made everything for the war out of hemp instead of cotton, and you know, again, this is whole fields of tents and wagon covers show up, you know, and it looks like snow. There's so many white things.
That's teach reflection here, so that may be something that you'll take a picture of. Yeah, as much, you know, that you can get photographs of, obviously, would be helpful, you know, to augment what we're doing here.
But the Old West used the wagon trains would kick off from Missouri, St. Joe, St. Louis, and they would be covered with hemp, and so the people in Missouri grew hemp to make wagon covers and started an industry to supply these wagons going west. And one of my distant relatives was in Missouri growing hemp for that very purpose.
Well,
This is another part of history is post Revolutionary War, where it was where they in the War of 1812 where they fought over hemp trades. This is hemp that was used for the war, and it was used in the First World War, the Civil War, and so on. So we're going to show you some of the stuff that is military canvas. Tight woven hemp you can carry water in. So they have these fold-up hemp water buckets. They had the old evaporation cooler water bags that people would hang on the front of their cars. The hotter it got, the more it would sweat, the cooler the water got. So they were great to have on. Because I lived in the desert, I know these. You would be happy to have a drink out of one of these bottles, and it was 110. Right here is what I was talking about before. Was in this picture. This is a Civil War encampment by the North. So every white thing you see in this picture is hemp. Tents, wagon covers. It didn't just snow on the field there. It's and because the air was clearer, the hemp stayed white a lot longer, especially on sailing ships that sail out in the clear ocean, clear air in the ocean.
okay.
So again, Civil War tents. This is tents from a hospital set up on the grounds of the federal capital for the Civil War. So it made things, and this is a balloon that actually the bag of the balloon is made of silk, but the ropes and netting and this flexible hydrogen generator, they were filling it with hydrogen. Those are probably all hemp items. And it was a surprise to me to know that they had balloons during the Civil War, but they would raise the balloon back of the line where nobody could shoot that far and disable it, so that that was good. Second World War, we got a couple of things. Those legging spats, I guess you call them, from the First World War there, where they wore leggings. The Second World War brought a problem because 5 years before the Second World War, they had outlawed hemp. And here came along the war, they had to change that, so they actually had a program called Hemp for Victory, and they had posters and films that told farmers that we needed you to grow hemp for the war. And hemp farmers and their sons were exempted from military service because they could grow this resource, and it was needed. in just a short period of time, they had planned 71 mills to open up and process 150,000 tons of hemp into rope and cordage. And the old saying is that George Bush Sr. was saved by hemp when he had to bail out of his airplane, and those hemp cords on his parachute saved his life. We have all kinds of stories about him. Again, the Second World War was big, and
Okay.
these are real hemp ropes, and you can see these. This is 1.25 inch rope. This is the kind of rope you climb in the gym, but one rope like this is made up of a core and 6 strands. Now this is all interwoven again, but if you look closely at each section, the core has 42 yarns. This being a yarn, and one of these yarns that hold you up. This is a core of the rope, and it's wrapped with these sections here. Each one of these has 34 yarns, so that this rope twisted up has 246 yarns twisted in there, and that's why.
Okay.
Okay, let's just take a look at underneath here a little bit, because there are different kinds of. This is just a display of knot tying, which I thought was interesting. These probably are not hemp. We have different kinds of hemp rope down here, all from Europe, most of it from Amsterdam, and braided rope and twisted rope, lots of sizes. We did our own down here. This was a rope we made to try to make a rope, and a jump rope I made, 100% hemp jump rope. So these are just items that we picked up down here, different kinds of hemp. There's a small one down there, small rope. These are bumpers to keep the boats from banging up against the docks. They just hang them over the side and they beat them up. What could be better than hemp, which is the strongest fiber there is, to outlast anything else? So this is a list from a dispensary showing all the varieties of kush that people have put in. Durban is a type of pot from South Africa, Durban, South Africa. And
Kush what is Kush?
Kush is a type of pot from Afghanistan and the Middle East, other countries around there, but basically it's a pot plant. So you can see that somebody's been breeding kush with all kinds of different things to make all these things. Here's a real Afghani kush down here. Now that might be close to the pure strain because it's Afghani and kush. It might have been crossed with an Afghani strain. There are like 850 different strains right now, not counting the ones that haven't been, established. L.A. Confidential is a strain that was this guy here, the seed companies. The DNA seed company has a L.A. Confidential, and it won a cup prize one time. So it's a good strain. But that's what this is. It's a list from a dispensary. These are probably all the different kinds of cushions that they had in the store. Somebody donated that to the museum.